Hey guys, so I wanted to share some of my thoughts about what's been going on in Baltimore. I know a lot of people have been asking me, so let me just get right into it. So the first thing I want to say is that this is nothing new, and I cannot stress that enough. I've been seeing a lot of people going back and forth about saying it's better than how it used to be or it's worse than how it used to be. Regardless, it is still going on, and it obviously should not be. This was my most recent read, and there was a part that I came across the other day and I thought it was interesting. It talks about a young black student who was shot and killed for using a white bathroom, I think, something like that. And it says, when Sammy Young Jr. was killed, a frustrated student group held protest demonstrations in the town, and there was some damage to property as a result of the demonstrators being harassed and intimidated by local police. This was back in like 66 or 67 or something like that. And then you skip a few pages talking about a completely different scenario, but it says, this incident brought hundreds of angry black people into the streets, throwing rocks and bottles and sniping at policemen. This is nothing new. I've been looking at the stuff people have been saying on Twitter and even responded to me on Twitter and on Tumblr and all of that, talking about the way they're acting is inappropriate or it's not helping their cause or this and that and blah blah blah. They're responding the exact same way that they did back in the 50s and the 60s. And instead of looking at the aftermath or the effect of what's going on, why don't you look at the cause? Why don't you look at the root of the problem? Because if you take away this part, all of this wouldn't even be going on. As far as the damage that's being done to the city, I'm kind of split, because on one hand my attitude is that we are not making any progress by stealing stuff and setting fires or anything. Like, that's not changing the reason for why you guys are even out there in the first place. Like, you stealing and destroying car windows and burning down CVS isn't gonna stop a police officer from killing another black person within the next 28 hours, you feel me? But on the other hand, rioting is what happens when protests go ignored. Like, when voices go unheard and problems like this go unsolved, you're going to have civil unrest. Like, if I were out there, I cannot see myself setting a building on fire. I might smash a window, maybe. No, but who am I to be like, yo, chill, calm down, it's not that serious? No, because I'm just as frustrated as they are. I share the same anger as them. So you can say they're wrong, you can say they're criminals or thugs, whatever, but regardless of however you want to spin the situation, they would not be out there acting like this if this situation didn't happen in the first place and didn't continue to happen. Because realistically, how often do you see groups of black people just roaming the streets destroying everything in sight? Never. But when you see white people doing it, it's always after a sports game. And do we ever call them thugs or criminals or arsonists? No, we just call them fans. But of course, if we do it because of an injustice, no matter what, we're thugs, we're criminals, we're just... But there is another thing that I want to address. A lot of people were saying they're destroying their own neighborhood or their own community. And again, I'm kind of split on this, because yes, this is their neighborhood, this is the area that they actually inhabit, but just because a business is in the black community doesn't make it actually a part of that community. Like, location-wise, yes, but if it's posing no beneficial opportunities for those who actually inhabit the neighborhood, then it's just another tool used to siphon money out of the black community. It's just another tool used to make black people and the people within that community dependent on them. A lot of businesses in the black community, outside of maybe hair salons and barbershops and a couple of food spots, aren't even black owned. And just because you see a black person running the spot doesn't mean that it's black owned. Black operated does not mean black owned. So you telling me robbing a liquor store and burning down a CVS is hurting their community? No, the hell it's not. Besides, CVS can and probably will be rebuilt in like a month. Try replacing Freddie Gray or Walter Scott or all the other lives that those racist assholes on Twitter try to claim aren't worth more than smashed windows and burnt buildings. Like, do it, please. But this is the last thing I'm gonna touch on, because I hate complaining about things without throwing in some type of positivity or a possible solution, even if it's pretty vague. My biggest issue with the rioting and the protesting and all of this is that it happens over and over again, and then we respond the exact same way, and we have been since the 50s. We try to pressure the government to make changes. We try to convince them that things aren't the way that they're supposed to be, and we do it violently, we do it non-violently, but we are getting the same results. When are we gonna change what we're doing? If they cared, if they wanted police brutality to stop, if they wanted justice, if they wanted job opportunities for us, if they wanted better educational institutions in our areas, if they wanted any of that, they would make those changes. They have the ability to. We know they do. If they didn't have the ability to, we wouldn't be asking them to make these changes for us. Like, isn't it obvious by now that any incentive for change that we want and need has to come from Black people? It has to come from the Black community. The only way we can do this is by organizing and gaining political power. People love to quote Malcolm with "by any means necessary," but they only do so with violent implications. How about we organize by any means necessary? Meaning we organize ourselves without any regards to what's traditionally acceptable, without any regards of who might fear us or what they might do to stop us. We gotta stop with these traditional approaches of protesting and rioting and petitioning when we've seen for decades now that the traditional approaches get us virtually nowhere. Stop begging them to lighten up on us and to give us a chance and to act humane and to have a conscience when they've showed us time and time again that they don't. They just do not care. Like, when will we realize that politics is not about consciousness, it is about interests? Look back on history. They have never helped us except for in times where they saw an opportunity for them to still capitalize off of us. Our issue is a political issue, and it doesn't matter how well we might be doing economically, because politics is what controls housing and education and healthcare and taxation and how crime is dealt with. Politics is what controls basically every aspect of our lives. I don't even think we truly realize our political potential, and we will never gain any power in politics until we first organize ourselves. And really, that is what Black power is. It's not about wanting to control the whole country or to promote Black supremacy or to take revenge on white America. None of that. It's about wanting to control what goes on in the Black community. It's about wanting to control the things that affect us the most: our education, housing, healthcare, jobs, all of that. And it's also no longer wanting to be a part of a system that has no intention of helping us and actually has shown that they enjoy hurting us. So let me chill before I go off on like a major tangent or something. But the bottom line is, I completely understand all of the anger and frustration that's going on in Baltimore right now, but at the same time, all of the time and effort that's being put into rioting could be put into something that's actually going to bring about some effective change. Clearly, we're all angry about this, but what's the point of complaining about it if we're not willing to make any changes? We got some work to do. We need to come together, we need to organize, and we need to start making some changes. We got a whole lot of work to do. They're not going to do it for us. They're not going to help us. They don't want to help us. Whew.